Hello, boys. All right, so quite a bit has happened since the last time I've been on here. We saw the neurologist again and got some updated notes from my spinal MRI. The spinal MRI only was the T level, so basically from the top of the neck to the bottom of the rib cage. And there was some lesions in there. Only a few though. There was like 3 lesions, which is not bad at all. We thought it was going to be absolutely full. However, there was some compressions. There was some, it looked like it's called loss of height, which, yeah, loss of height. I used to be 5'1" and now I'm 5 foot, so that would make sense. There's some other things that were going on, and when we met with the neurologist, he was like, we are starting you on meds as soon as we can, so if you have them, he wanted me to start like that day. I did have them. So I did start the meds that day, and the way that it works is with the Kesimpta, you have 3 injections once a week for 3 weeks, and then you take a week off, and then you have a 4th injection after that week off, and you're once a month after that. So you take your 3 once a week, right? And those are to prep your body for the Kesimpta. And what it's doing is it is stripping your body of your B cells, which are part of your immune system. And that is what's causing the inflammation on your immune system and your central nervous system to tell your body to say, hey, let's attack itself. So that's why we're doing it, is my body is attacking itself because it's so inflamed and it's just saying, hey, we're going to do this. So it's very interesting theory. We are definitely into it. We're already 2 weeks in. So we are, today is going to be week 3. And from week 1, I didn't really have any symptoms, side effects, anything like that. There was some muscle weakness a little bit. No, I'm sorry, not muscle weakness, muscle tenderness the second day after taking the first injection. And I did have a sinus cold, but it turned into a sinus infection for like a week and a half. But it was like a week because now it's gone. So it was definitely only like a week. But other than that, I didn't really have any issues with the injections. And the fact that you can actually get infections from the Kesimpta as a side effect, and since I was already sick, it was okay, I guess, that I was kind of already, I wasn't kind of, I was already sick, and then it just amplified the illness that I already had. So the second week, last week, was a little bit more rough, but that's because I went into a flare. So it wasn't rough per se because of the Kesimpta. My flare last week really started, I noticed I was starting to get really itchy again, and it wasn't necessarily just allergies. It was just obnoxious, and I was getting skin sensitivities. Wind would send my skin on sensitivity. My eyes were really bad last week. I could not even really see straight without my glasses. So there was just things that were telling me, okay, we're in a flare. The doctor the week prior noticed that my gait, so like when you're walking, the way that you walk is called your gait. So that was changed already, which was probably actually the actual start of my flare, but I didn't notice anything until last week. But the um, the other symptoms that I noticed were just different. They were smaller. They were lighter. They have not been heavy. They haven't been there hasn't been any migraines or headaches. Some of that could actually be the migraine medication that I'm on, thank the Lord, because they are not fun when you're in a flare. They're actually like amplified and it's really, really obnoxious. There was one day that and I can swear that sometimes I can actually feel where my new lesions are. Like I could like pinpoint it on my brain. I'm like, it's right here. It's right here. But there are days, so like it's very interesting. But my left arm is actually part of my flares now, and now my left side is tingly and sensitive and starting to get numb. But my left shoulder, my left arm, does not have full use anymore. I can't, I don't have full mobility with it. I can't use it to bend all the way back to wash my hair or like scratch my back in certain areas the way that I can with my right arm. There are things that I can't do with it, like, when you take your shirt off a certain way, like even like this is like as far as it will bend up. Like it will not go any further than like where it's at right now. So there are things that I am definitely concerned about with it. And I do feel like sometimes when there are things that I go through, when I say things to people, sometimes I feel like because I go through so much, people just kind of brush it off. And they're like, yep, okay, you're just going through something else. And the things that I'm going through are not valid. And it's kind of obnoxious to me because it's like the things that I go through don't matter, and it makes me feel lonely. And not just lonely, but unheard. And it's obnoxious, it's rude, and I really just want someone to sit down with me and be like, what can I do? How can I help you? What can I take off your plate? Instead of just saying, well, it's just a part of your MS. It's just going to get worse. You should just be okay with it. You should be used to it by now. I'm never going to be used to my body not working correctly and stuff changing. I'm never going to get used to that. I know it's going to happen, but I'm never going to be used to it. I absolutely flippin' hate it. I absolutely freaking hate it. And that's a part of why I'm going on the Kesimpta, and that's a part of why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. Because like I said, I want to be here for you kids, and I want to be able to do the things that I want to do in life and for you guys, and I can't do that unless I use a disease modifying medication. And without that medication, these things are going to just get worse very, very fast. They already are getting worse very, very fast. So I don't know how else to go through the things that I'm going through and not suffer. I don't feel like I'm suffering, but I do feel like there's a lot of things happening and changing. And yes, it sucks balls. It is horrible and it is frustrating. And there are days that I do not mentally feel strong, and I do not mentally want to be awake and want to get up and shower and do the things that I have to do every day. And I have to, because Ennis needs me. And if I don't get up and shower and do the things that I need to do, what happens? Do I end up in a slump? Do I end up depressed and on even more medication that I don't want to be on? I don't know. But I just know that I don't want to keep feeling like the things that I'm going through are not validated, even though it's going to be a continual downgrade on my everyday life and your everyday life. And my mobility and my functions, my motor functions, everything is just going to get worse. Maybe it'll slow down with the medication. That's our hope. That's why I'm on the medication. But right now, if it keeps progressing the way that it's progressing, it's going to end very, very quickly and aggressively and not pretty. And I don't want to say something to somebody and them to say, well, you should have seen that coming. Because I'm about ready to slap a bitch. Because that's not okay. Yes, I know I have MS. Yes, I know my body is fighting against itself. Yes, I know what MS can do to people. But I should not have to just be okay with my body saying, F you, bitch. Seriously. So, anyways, that's my rant. Because I love you kids. And I know that you guys, I love you kids. And I know that you guys always just see mom telling you how the things are the way that they are. And on these videos, I try to stay strong, and I sometimes get emotional, and a lot of it is the doctor words and the big words and the medication stuff and things like that. And I don't really talk about how I am feeling. And I mean, I do, but I don't at the same time. But I'm not saying you guys are the ones doing this. I just want you guys to know how I feel. And that's the whole reason that I started doing these vlogs, is so that you know what mom's going through. And that was the whole reason I did this, right? Was to update you throughout the journey and the way that things changed and progressed and updates and everything. The goods, the bads, all of it, right? That was the whole reason we did these videos. So I will show you the injection, and I love you, and I love you.